Okay, so I'll be showing you example 4 and example 5, which is still using the idea of addition of vectors, which is like the fill in the blank. But in this question, in this type of question, sometimes it can get very, very long, and they give you a lot of information, and you will see a lot of ratios given to you. So before you answer the question, read through the question, read through the ratio, so that you can come up with a lot of vectors, so that you can facilitate the fill in the blank. So for example, here in this case, so they like for example, the question say M is the midpoint of AB. So you do some integration first to remember that it's actually a midpoint. Mm. So being a midpoint, later will be you can tell that AM is like half of AB. Okay, then after that, we also got B is the midpoint of OD. So from this part, I will be able to know that OB is equal to B. But this will also be equal to B because of the idea of midpoint. And because of this, I know the whole of OD. So because of this statement, I can come up with two more vectors. Okay, so because of that statement, I come up with a bit more vectors. Then if you look at the next one, we got some ratios. So this one is 2 units, this one is 3 units. So that's how you interpret ratio. So you can do a little bit of primary school thinking. So this one is 2 units, and then this whole thing is 3 units. So meaning that this part is 1 unit. So now I got OA equal to A. So you can think something like 2 units is A. Then what about 1 unit? So 1 unit will be half A. And then what about the whole OC? Whole OC will be 1.5 A. So because of this ratio, I came out with extra 2 vectors that maybe later on I will be using it to do some fill in the blank. Then after that, I also got another ratio here. This is 3 units and this is 7 units. So read the ratio first. So this part will be 4 units. So read the ratio before you do anything. Okay, so then we do one by one here. So for part 1, it's actually quite easy. If you have interpreted it as half of AB. AM is quite easy, it's half of AB. And if you want to do a fill in the blank for AB, that is also quite easy. It's AO plus OB, which gave you a minus A plus B. So it's okay if you open up or you don't open up, that's fine. But please remember to write the tail. So that is your AM. Okay, then we go to OM. Again, it will be fill in the blank. So what do you have to fill in the blank? So if you look around, you have OA and AM. OA is just A. AM is the previous answer that you have found. So you are back to fill in the blank. And that's how I get my OM. Then we go to the third part. You would like to find CD. So look around you. What do you have to fill in the blank? So you got CO plus OD. So just now you managed to come up with some extra information. So based on that, you will get minus 1.5A plus 2B. Okay, so it's a lot of filling in the blank, including the last part, ON. So ON sometimes a bit more confusing. ON will be OC plus CN. Okay, it does match a filling in the blank. But then maybe you'll be thinking, so where is my CN? So do you remember you got this part that you can use? So OC is 1.5 A. CN is 3/7 of CD. And you already gotten your CD on this part. So make use of your previous vectors. And you open up the bracket. As if vector A is like algebra. So you open up the bracket, then you simplify. Simplify vector A, and then you simplify vector B. So eventually you are still going back to a lot of filling in the blank, but you need to interpret the ratio correctly first. Okay, so this example deals with addition of vectors, but you interpret all the information, then you do the addition of vectors. In example 5, we also got a lot of addition of vectors, but this diagram comes with a parallelogram. So for parallelogram, we will have equal vectors to apply. Okay, so for example here, so because I know that it's going to be a parallelogram, this and this should be equal. So OA should be equal to 2P, and CB is also equal to 2P because of equal vectors. And then because I'm given the midpoint, that means this part, I'm expecting this part to be a P, this part to be a P. So Cx is equal to Xb equal to a P. So this is equal vectors, same length, same direction. And then this part is a 2Q. So being equal vectors, so OC is also 2Q. And subsequently, we also know that OC is equal to CD. So that means, right, this part is also a 2Q. So you read, there's a lot of information. So in this question, I got a bit of equal vectors, and I also given some ratio. So this one is 4 units, and this one is 3 units. So OX is 3 units. OY is 4 units, so that makes this part 1 unit. So later maybe it comes into use. I'm not so sure yet. So this one is 1 unit, and this is 3 units. So that makes EY 2 units. So bear in mind the ratio. So you came out with equal vectors and you got some ratios, you got some midpoint. Then after that, we'll try to answer the question. So answering OB is quite easy. If you take a look at what is your OB. So OB is here. So if you do the fill in the blank, OB is just OA plus AB. Fill in the blank. And OA is 2P. AB is 2Q. So that's it. That's my answer. Fill in the blank. Then if I will need a OX, the second part is also not very difficult. OX is here. So you'll be OC plus CX. So it can be OC plus CX. So OC is 2Q because of equal vectors. Px is equal to P, also due to equal vectors and half of the equal vectors. Then the last part, BD. So BD is up right here. So BD is BC plus CD. So BD is BC plus CD. And you have both the vector. So just be careful, it's opposite direction. So that will be minus 2P plus 2Q. So in actual fact, this question is quite easy if you have to do the groundwork of equal vectors or some ratios. So in this question, we didn't use much of the ratios here. Basically, it's identify a lot of equal vectors and also making use of the midpoint. But that's the idea of filling in the blank. Okay, so that is this type of question usually happens for some can be paper 1, but the longer one can happen in paper 2. So we use back the generic idea of addition of vectors, which is what I'll call fill in the blank.